How to add samples to your MIDI controller in Logic Pro X. There's a few different ways to do this. The first and easiest way to add and shop samples either or on your MIDI controller or your musical typing keyboard. I'm going to drag my sample in from an OS window to this part here in the columns of the actual layers. For those that didn't know you can do this, you're missing out. And we're going to go to the very first one, Quicksampler. And what it's going to do is pop up our sampler with an already pre-chopped set of samples for us to mess with. Now, what we want to do is bring the sensitivity down a little bit, and I like to have my start key on C3. And we can fix it here so that it's cutting off right away. Although it's good to have at least a little bit of a fade out so it's not such an abrupt cut. Then we have some of our standard LFO pitch and filters. We can turn our filter on here and... Okay, so let me lay something on here, and then I'll do the same thing with a drum sample. So now we're going to do the same thing with our drum samples. Drag them into our actual column here until this pop-up shows up. Drag it into the very first one. It's going to drag it right in, and chances are on drum sounds, it'll already slice it to pretty much what you want it to. You don't have to change the sensitivity much. All nice one shots. So now I'm going to turn my note repeat on, bring my modulation wheel on, and let's lay something. Turn my note repeat off and just duplicating this layer just by clicking up here with their plus symbol. And now I'll do that again with just having the kick and the snare isolated onto their own layer. Okay, so that's one, and now latch and there we go. Now we have some stereo imaging going on as well. Actually, first let's take everything and quantize it. Then take the kicks, copy, erase, duplicate this layer again, paste, womp. Making you guys weapons of mass production, efficiency all the time. So now we have our kicks and our snares isolated. One thing I will say about the hi-hat is I do want to pitch it up, and latch is still on, so it's automating that. So let's just roll with it. Okay, that's nice actually. And put a bass over this and we'll call that a beat. Okay, so that's just getting started. We can obviously copy all these over, and you guys should mess around with those samples some more so it's not the same thing repeated over and over again, even though this sounds absolutely great just as it is. And I'm sure any good MC could kill this just looped forever, right? These old Motown samples are amazing when the right ones get chosen anyway, and you do at least a half decent job of lining something up that's sonically pleasing, aesthetic, and has a nice funk to it, which I think we achieved. One last listen, and we'll consider this lesson closed. The mix is off, we're redlining like crazy, but that's okay. You guys get it. This wasn't about mastering just yet. And there is the basics of adding samples to your MIDI keyboard or even typing musical keyboard in Logic Pro X.